everybody, what's up? Welcome back to another video. Today, I am going back into Minecraft, and I'm in Forest Wildlife Explorers.
Well, hello! Glad to see you made it. I know
Yep.
it's a bit of a trek to get here, but I promise the experience will be worth the trek.
Ish.
I'm Sam, the one you spoke with on the phone about the job. Welcome to our
Right.
research facility. We'll be counting on
Whoa.
you and your survival expertise to get us the data we need. This is
Right.
an ideal location to study animals that live in North America's temperate forests. Here, you'll find a mix of animals that might not normally come together, thanks to the diverse biomes in the area, from the mountains to the lake to the forest itself. This way, we can effectively study how human activity is impacting. Now, as part of that, we ask that you take photographs of the various animals. Just as a trial run, would you mind snapping a shot of a deer? There are usually some right around here. When you find one, just hold up your camera and kinda punch with it to take a picture. Then bring that picture back here to me.
Need I explain anymore?
The name bald eagle doesn't come from the bird lacking feathers, but is derived from a much older word meaning white or white-headed. These magnificent raptors nearly went extinct in the 1950s due to a widely used pesticide called DDT. DDT made the eagle's eggshells thin, and the eggs would break long before any chick could hatch. Between that, habitat destruction, and us hunting them, it's a miracle that the species survived. Now their population has nearly made a full recovery. They show that humans can fix our mistakes. We really try. Black bears are the smallest, yet most widespread of bear species in North America. Usually active during twilight, you might see one of these omnivores foraging for berries or eating an animal carcass. However, many bears of all species have learned to associate humans with food, since we just leave it lying around or in trash bins. Bears can smell food from a football field away and have no compunctions about tearing into something to get an easy meal. It makes them accustomed to humans, which can be dangerous to both the bears and people. If boars were the three little pigs instead of the farmyard variety of porkers, the big bad wolf probably would have reconsidered blowing their houses down. Boars may look small, but they are heavy with muscle. They're some of the most aggressive creatures you will ever come across. They're more likely to charge whatever startles them than they are to flee, and their tusks can be horrifically dangerous, even lethal, to both people and animals. Wolves will eat them, but only if they get the jump on these things from behind. These fuzzy little buddies are found all over North America, from Mexico to southern Canada, from forests and swamps to deserts and city outskirts. Because of that range, they're not considered endangered as a whole. However, they are at risk of going extinct in certain locations that they call home, like Ohio and New Jersey. Some populations are outcompeted by other predators, some are hunted by humans, and some are driven out by human activity. Still, conservation efforts will hopefully keep this beautiful feline from disappearing altogether. Butterfly describes hundreds of winged insect species, including moths. Many are migratory, some flying hundreds of miles to reach warmer climates in the winter. Insects are very temperature sensitive, though, and climate change has devastated their populations across the globe. Humans only have 3 color receptor types in our eyes: red, blue, and green. Butterfly eyes, however, can have as many as 15. Apparently, many of them can see ultraviolet light, and have evolved patterns on their wings that can only be seen in that spectrum. Something they don't show in the movies is how loud these little guys are. People used to think that the barking, chucking, and trilling sounds they make are part of territory or mating displays. It turns out, however, that each type of call they sound corresponds with a different kind of predator. For example, if they see a mammalian predator, they'll start chipping to warn other chipmunks. If it's an aerial predator, they'll make a chucking sound. They don't live in groups, but it seems they're still willing to help their neighbors. The name deer covers a huge family of hooved animals, including caribou and moose. This one is a white-tailed deer, the most common variety in North America. A fawn, or baby deer, is covered in little white spots over its light brown coat. As it gets older, the spots fade, and if the deer is a male, or buck, it will grow antlers. To assert dominance, bucks charge each other and lock antlers, wrestling until one gives up. Once winter hits, bucks knock off their antlers by scraping them against rocks and trees, then regrow them in the spring. 325 million years ago, dragonflies' ancestors used to be massive, with wingspans nearly 3 feet long. Don't underestimate these guys just because they've shrunk over the eons, though. They are top predators in the insect kingdom. Whereas most predators would be lucky to catch half of what they pursue, dragonflies typically snag 95% of their prey due to their amazing eyesight and exceptional flying ability. In fact, some species are such strong flyers that they migrate across entire oceans. chow down on other amphibians and animal carcasses. Their diverse food supply has not kept them from becoming endangered, though. Many of their forest and wetland homes have been turned into farms and suburbs, while pollution and global warming harm them greatly. Make sure to recycle and help clean up a local pond or waterway with your friends or town if you can. They may look fluffy and cuddly, but you'll want to keep your distance. Most Native Americans kept far from grizzly territory if they could help it. These things are tough, strong, and surprisingly fast. You can't outrun one, and it whips its claws around as quickly as any boxer can throw punches. Most grizzly attacks happen when humans startle them or get too close to a mother grizzly's cubs. Between hunters and habitat destruction, they became a threatened species, but conservation efforts are bringing their population back to stable levels. Most people know that hares and rabbits are different, but don't know what it is that distinguishes them. Aside from being a bit larger with longer ears, hares are solitary creatures that live in small nests, while rabbits are communal and live in underground tunnels. Because they live in more exposed nests, hares have evolved to give birth to young that are fully furred with open eyes. Within a few hours, those babies are able to fend for themselves, though will first stick around mom for a while if they can. While not aggressive, you should still keep back. They're quick to defend themselves by biting with their venomous teeth. Though not usually lethal to humans, the venom can be excruciatingly painful for up to 24 hours, and comes with massive swelling, sweating, lightheadedness, and weakness. All sorts of things you don't need to deal with while surviving in the wild, or any other time for that matter. If this sounds familiar, it's because this lizard's nearest kin, the Gila monster, has venom with nearly the exact same effect. They may look like big empty-headed doofuses, but... well, actually, yeah, that's just what they are. Moose aren't exactly the brightest, but what they lack in intelligence, they make up for in belligerence. They charge buses and cars out of nowhere and are responsible for a few deaths every year. However, if one does charge you, just hide behind a tree. It will have no idea where you went. Weirdly enough, because moose like to swim and eat seaweed from the ocean floor, they're also one of the orca whale's favorite foods. Also called pumas and cougars, these twilight and nocturnal ambush predators will eat any meat they can get their paws on, from insects to moose. They'll even take down coyotes and wild horses, but retreat from wolf packs or grizzly bears. While hunting, they wait in trees or atop rocky overhangs until an animal wanders by, then spring and stretch their branches ready. While they aren't particularly interested in humans, they will back off if you make a lot of noise or swing a stick at them. It's best to keep well away if you can. The great horned owl is highly adaptable to temperature and dietary changes, making them well suited to most homes in North America. Surviving largely off of mice, rabbits, and other small mammals with keen hearing, the owl has evolved special feathers at the front of its wings. They dampen sound so that the owl flies with near silence. Furthermore, they have asymmetrical ears that can create a 3D map of their environment, including the location of prey, just according to what they hear. Pretty useful for a nocturnal predator. My mom had pet raccoons as a kid. They were the sweetest things and strangely intelligent but unpredictable. They're capable of basic tool use and wash off their food in clean water before eating. Raccoons can be curious, sometimes even friendly, but typically they will bite anyone who gets too close. It's also not uncommon for a raccoon to carry rabies, so it's best not to get near a wild one. Just watch where you put your food scraps, as they will invade pretty much any place to get a meal, hence the nickname Trash Panda. As my dad likes to say, these guys evolved to know the value of accessorizing. I mean, look at those bushy tails. They're so fluffy and elegant, but cute at the same time. You'll also find few creatures so perfectly adapted to life in the trees. Their tails allow them to change direction mid-air so that squirrels always land on their feet, even if they've been launched sideways. They also can survive falling from any height, so they aren't in the least bit afraid to scamper through redwoods that stretch 100 feet into the air. No one realizes how big wolves are until they see one up close, which I wouldn't advise doing. Wolf attacks are rare, but these are still wild predators, so don't push your luck, no matter how soft and fluffy their fur is. Wolves have been demonized since before Roman times, partly due to being nighttime predators. Because of that, they were hunted to extinction in the British Isles and were endangered in the United States. Conservation efforts brought most wolf species to a nearly full recovery here, but human behavior still threatens them. Wood frogs may be cold-blooded, but they naturally live in some of the coldest places in North America, including Alaska and northern Canada. While most reptiles and amphibians cannot tolerate such low temperatures, many northern frogs, including these little guys, have evolved to survive their very blood freezing solid in the winter. While hibernating, they can survive as much as 65% of their body's moisture turning to ice, and then be perfectly fine when they thaw out in the spring. You ever try shaking your head back and forth as hard as you can for more than a few seconds? Yeah, it hurts. However, to get at the insects they eat, woodpeckers stab their faces into wood like a jackhammer all day. They've evolved spongy bones in a sort of safety belt inside their skull that keeps the brain stable. Plus, even though they're striking the wood with their beak, they're built so that 99% of the shock transfers into the bird's body rather than its head. There's lots that engineers can learn from these guys.
Alright, you finished everything. While this isn't going to be enough by itself to end climate change or protect the animal species around here, work like this does a lot to make a difference. You're a major help. We'll keep you in mind for future work. In the meanwhile, just remember to do what you can for the environment while you're at home. Even if it's just recycling. Every bit counts.
It had been a pleasure as always. Well, that's it for the series. I hope you all enjoyed today's video, and I'll see you in the next video. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and you all know my outro. Vikram is out. Peace!